How are we doing today, guys? I hope you guys are having a fantastic morning, as I am. We had an awesome stream last night. Thank you guys for coming out for that. We got to talk about a ton of topics. And it has been an insane week for the bar. It's been very, very busy, very successful. I'm very grateful. That being said, I haven't made a video in like a week. Anyways, let's go ahead and talk about the most important topic that I think people want to hear, that's very validating, that justifies waiting on the sidelines and maybe waiting for better deals, waiting for PSA 10 chase card prices to go down, waiting for sealed prices to possibly go down. So we have epic news, and this is probably old news for a lot of you, but for me, it's new. I haven't really checked in for a couple of days, but word on the street is Surging Sparks is hitting a big reprint. Twilight Masquerade is hitting a big reprint. Obsidian Flames is hitting a big reprint. And Paldea Evolved. Pretty much the hypest sets that people are dying to get illustration rares from and SIRs. I gotta say, I'm not really surprised. I kind of saw this coming. For a second, I thought maybe Pokemon wants their stuff to be so exclusive on the secondary market, they're not going to overprint. But Pokemon, I've said this many times in the past, and it continues to remain the truth, they don't want to leave money on the table. Why would they leave money on the table? Why are they going to let everybody else make the money when they can simply print more product? They don't get anything out of the secondary market pricing being high. At least I can't think why they would. There's a lot of hype in the hobby. There's a lot of FOMO. There's a lot of scalping. There's a lot of bad behavior as far as grown adults going to these vending machines right now. That's another thing I wanted to talk about. And basically taking all the product. Even with the set limits they have, it's really not making a difference. GameStop canceling the pre-orders and just orders in general for people, and then asking secondary market pricing. I think for most people, it is complete pandemonium in the hobby right now. It's not looking good. For me, I'm still collecting like I would normally. It is frustrating. There are cards that I really, really try to get my hands on and have had no luck with. Mainly one of the last cards that I want for my alt arts for Sword and Shield. And there's probably a good 5 or 6 that I'm still going after. But Umbreon V is one of them. I remember when that card was hyped up, and 300-400 was a crazy price for that card. Now it sits at 550, 600, 650. I gave a guy an offer for 530 and got ghosted. This market's crazy. For people willing to ghost reputable buyers and not even shoot a counter offer, like, all right, I can do $10 off. I mean, I don't know. It seems unprofessional. It seems rude. But as a seller on eBay, I get it. When you get a lot of lowball offers, you get desensitized to it. You stop responding to people. But I don't think $20 off was a lowball offer. I was willing to pay $530 for a card that has a high pop that pops up on eBay every single week. Guys, there's like 3, 4, 5 listings for Umbreon V right now. There's like auctions going up every single week. It's not rare by any means. Why are these cards still fetching these premiums? Anyways, so Surging Sparks, I'm really excited about that reprint. So many good illustration rares. Most notably for me is the Phanpy. Whenever I see that Phanpy, I'm going to grab one. Even if it's not in the best condition, I love that Phanpy. I'm going to try and grade as many as I can and try and get as many of those back as I can as 10s. So the Phanpy's cool. Y'all also know that I'm really big on the Latias EX. I think that card is phenomenal. Let's give a shout out to the Milotic. So it'll be good when this reprint happens to see more copies going up on the market. They definitely will. More product will get opened. More copies will enter the market. The populations will rise. This is what tends to happen. Now, I still think that this is the golden time to be looking, waiting for this reprint window. When we start hearing that product is really hitting the market, that's the time to buy, right? Because this is it. Scarlet Violet is ending. A lot of these sets they'll be in rotation for some time. We will see auxiliary products and packs here and there sprinkled into retail, But I do feel like when this reprint happens, for me especially, one of my strategies, because I'm not really into sealed collecting or investing anymore, but if there's a good opportunity, I'm going to take it. That being said, if this reprint happens and there's product on the secondary market, and secondary market sellers have cases of product for reasonable prices, less than what we've seen previously, like I think 1,300, 1,100 to 1,300 a case for Surging Sparks. I'd like to see that number down to the $900, $1,000 area. People will say, no, Ryan, that's impossible. That's the same thing they've said to me about a lot of other sets in the past. Wait for a good reprint, then try to stock up, I think, when that reprint window hits. There's a lot of great cards in Surging Sparks that I'm probably not remembering. But moving forward, Twilight Masquerade, that'll be good for all of the Greninja fans. That'll also be good for the Evolution fans for that Eevee. I did get one of those Eevees back as a 10, so that was phenomenal. Paldea Evolved, say less. Just the set as a whole is goated right now. There are so many high dollar fetching illustration rares. One of my favorites, I'm pretty sure it's from Paldea Evolved, is the Meryl, the floating Meryl. Dude, that's absolutely gorgeous, epic. But like $200, $300, $400 for that card, I can't do it. I can't justify it. I'm going to wait and hope that the populations rise on those cards and we get just a slight haircut. We are seeing a lot of illustration rares hitting the market. Those pops are rising. And for some of them, we're kind of seeing a plateau, a flatline effect. I know that the Execute is really, really cool to me. Another Surging Sparks card that I did not remember to mention. The Execute is really, really cool. That card kind of shot up. It was approaching, 120, 130, 140, 150. Now it's back down to people are just, they're willing to take $100 on it. A lot of these illustration rares should probably be priced in the $60 to $80 price point area. A lot of them in 10s, before people really knew if they were going to be hot cards or not, a lot of them in 10s were about $50 to $60. So my hat's off to all the people that got illustration rares when they were at that price point in a PSA 10, because a lot of them are doing much better now. I do think that the plateau price is probably going to be like $90 to $100, right? I think $90 to $100 is a good price to pay for a lot of these cards that are flatlining a little bit. Talking about a little bit of a retrace, let's jump it. Oh, and then Obsidian Flames. We had Paldea Evolved is great. Then Obsidian Flames. With Obsidian, you have the Houndour, which is picking up steam. You've got the Scizor, which is picking up steam. Let's go back from illustration rares. The SIRs are starting to retrace a little bit too. I guess if you're looking at Obsidian, that Obsidian Flames Charizard, if that's your cup of tea, that could be a huge card to be looking at when these reprints happen and when we see more cards hit the market. I do think we have kind of hit a peak price right now. I do feel like we are destined to see some type of retrace. If you guys are familiar with the new PSA app and you're using the Vault or you're submitting your cards to PSA for grading, you've probably noticed those PSA estimates. And they estimate in a lot of cases for modern cards, there is a low confidence for these estimates being up near 500, 600, especially for the Evolutions cards. It seems to me that when PSA is putting these estimates up for card prices, and it's a low confidence estimate, that kind of says to me, that's a signal to me that these prices are probably going to retrace some, because the price movement's been crazy to say the least, and I think we all are waiting for some type of retrace. Not necessarily a crash, because I just don't think we're going to get a crash at this point. Pokemon's far too popular. There's too many people joining in every day. I think that this hobby is ever expanding and will go strong. The founder himself, or the CEO, I think, he said that Pokemon will probably see another 100 to 150 years or 50 to 100 years of strong, dedicated following. So that's pretty cool. That signals a lot of strength and a lot of sustainability in the hobby long term. But yeah, these prices are crazy. Obsidian Flames. Also, the Pidgey lineup for the illustration rares. I did get my Pidgey back as a 10. That was a fantastic card for me to add to my collection. I am going to try and grade a lot of these illustration rares because I do feel like 200, 300, 400 is insanity for illustration rares. It's not right. Anyways, we talked about the vending machines shortly. Vending machines scalping, this is continuing to be an issue. I don't think that surprises anybody. Pokemon and crypto, let's throw that into the mix. I'm going to try and squeeze in these last points here, and then we'll do something totally fresh tomorrow. I'll probably do my submission reveal for the cards that I'm about to send off to PSA, and I want to record everything that's being sent off just in case anything weird happens at PSA. I want there to be video footage of me going over everything I'm going to send off beforehand, so I get to share that with you guys shortly. That'll probably be tomorrow's video. But Pokemon and crypto, a lot of people are mentioning Pokemon and crypto kind of being lumped together. Bitcoin has seen this insane rise. A lot of people think that it's correlated. A lot of people believe that there is information that points to the Bitcoin creator being located on the West Coast in California. I think, with Silicon Valley being out there, I think it's safe to assume that he's probably out there. He's chilling. And I think a lot of people are, made all this big money in Bitcoin, and they're wanting to put it into something else that's the speculative play. And I really feel like Pokemon is the perfect speculative play. It screams stonk right now and chase the money and get the bag. So I don't know if these prices are just going to sustainably rise from where they're at, or if they're going to double again at some point soon, because more and more people are jumping into the hobby. And there may be some correlation with cryptocurrencies, with people making that fast money and coming up really big and then wanting to just get into something else. And thinking, oh, well, there's people are making all this money in Pokemon right now. I'll move over my investment from this super, volatile, risky crypto asset. And let's not even get political here. If you love crypto, great. I don't know enough about Bitcoin to speak on it, other than the fact that Bitcoin has proven itself. It has only risen the way a stock market, well, not the way the stock market rises, but it's risen over time, long term, the same way the stock market tends to. So it's not showing us by any means that it is a super volatile, unreliable thing to put your money in. But I do think people are probably like, Bitcoin's like pretty much at the tippity top. Let's take this money out here and let's roll it into something else. Unfortunately, it's created this effect in Pokemon where everything in Pokemon is at the tippy top too right now. So I don't know if they're even getting a good deal. A lot of people, myself included, are probably going to lose a lot of value if the market does tank, because there's a lot of money coming in. There's a lot of money being injected from other places. But hey, that is completely, that is my total hypothetical for the day. Okay, what's the next thing? IRs coming back down in price. I kind of already mentioned that I think IRs are coming down in price. That does remind me, though, I want to jump back to the alt arts from Sword and Shield. So, one of the first ones that really caught my eye was the gold Giratina from Crown Zenith. That gold card, that Giratina, and there's 4 gold cards, right? There's the Giratina, the Arceus, the Dialga, and the Palkia. Those 4 cards were the hottest cards to pull during Crown Zenith, arguably, right? Now, there's a lot of other amazing cards in Crown Zenith. The Mewtwo is one that I still haven't ever seen in person or pulled myself. I love that card. I really like the Legendary Dogs. Suicune is particularly one of my favorites. I can't believe where that card's at now. That was a $10, $20 card, and now is like $180 and a 10. Crazy times. There are so many of those out there, too. But anyways, back to the Giratina, something I noticed recently, and right, there was one low sale, but for the most part, Giratina is kind of sitting at 400. But it was 500. It went on a rip, and it was 500 like that. And then all of a sudden, everybody was okay with paying 500. And then it was trickling 470, 480, and then it was trickling a little more, 450, and then it was 420, 430, and now Gold Star Giratina, you can buy it right now for 400 on the dot. For someone that saw 500 as a price point, I was thinking about it and I was like, damn, 400 looks like a decent deal on that. But then I'm like, no, there's probably still a lot more of those that haven't hit the market or been graded yet. So let's watch and see. I didn't get enough sleep last night. Let's watch and see what happens. There was one sale for that gold Giratina. There was one sale for $365, guys, which means that even though that was an outlier sale, we might still see more of those. It was a low feedback seller, a new seller. People probably didn't feel confident putting a bid on it, but it was paid for, and $365, that is a lot less than 500, right? Not quite at the halfway point, but I think that's about a 30% retrace on that card. Right now it's sitting at about 400, but still that would be a 20% retrace. So I think it's fair to say, based on looking at a card like that was a very, very hot card, popular Pokemon, Giratina, it's that gold card. I really didn't think they were that special. Now that I have one slabbed in a 10 and I'm looking at it, I'm like, dang it, now I have to collect all 4 of these. I have to have them all. I actually, doing an opening with Aspen, which I rarely ever don't record stuff. Guys, I should have actually given you guys an update on this. I don't know where it is. But anyways, me and Aspen pulled the Palkia from Crown Zenith, the gold Palkia. And the centering is pretty good. I'm not going to sift through the 120-ish cards that I have ready to get graded. But tomorrow you guys will see that. If I have time to do the submission reveal video tomorrow before sending it out, you guys will see that gold Palkia that we pulled. Super nice centering. That was a highlight in my life recently. I know I didn't make any videos this past week really, but that was a really special time with Aspen where me and her were just sitting down and I just said, let's open up some packs, just me and you. And that was a lot of fun. And it's funny, Aspen was thumbing through the cards with one finger and just like swiping them aggressively. And then swipe aggressively, boom, Palkia, gold Palkia. Dude, that was sick. So that was a lot of fun. Yeah, we kind of talked about the PSA estimates. I wanted to know what you guys think about those PSA estimates. Are they accurate? Is it kind of a bogus estimate? Again, check out the PSA app. I gotta say, I think PSA is actually doing a great job. It takes forever to get your cards back from the vault, but I think PSA is doing a great job with the vault. I think they're doing a great job with all the submissions, considering how many people are submitting their cards right now. I gotta be fair with them. Like they're cranking stuff out pretty quick. I was kind of surprised how fast I got my second submission back. The real issue was how long it took to be received there. So I think a lot of people are struggling with that. I think it takes about 2 to 3 weeks for the cards to be received in a lot of cases, whereas it only takes like a month and a half for them to really be processed, graded, and shipped back out. But anyways, last but not least, let's go over some of these. I had to keep you guys waiting till the end. Let's go over some of these alt arts that just came in. You guys know I am still buying alt arts. I'm trying to get a decent deal on them to account for the fact that I do think the market is going to retrace a bit on a lot of these. I have been mainly, the last couple days, I have been just listing a lot of stuff on my eBay. I'm trying to take the hard route, and even stuff like this, these common first editions, I'm basically taking the hard route and I'm listing these one at a time. Because you know what? I've seen way more sales and way more success and better margins. Guys, I've seen better margins. Guys, stop barking, please. I've seen better margins. Yorios! I've seen better margins. I don't even know what I'm saying anymore. I've seen better margins on a lot of these buy it now listings that I've set a set price on. I've seen way more success here than I have with auctions. And that should really be no wonder. But even my auctions have done well. I'm just saying, in terms of if I could do it all over again, I would do way less auctions and I would have broken so many cards down to sell as singles. It is, I will say, to add to that, one more thing. that it is super time consuming, so that is not ideal. But let's go ahead and go over some of these cards. So first up, the single strike Urshifu. The Urshifus just aren't getting any love from Battle Styles, and it's hilarious because this card is absolutely epic. The artwork is beautiful, the style is beautiful, the aggressive nature of Urshifu carrying a boulder is beautiful. This card's incredible. I mean, it is literally like mythology. It is Atlas with the weight of the world on his shoulders. This card's incredible to me, and I'm very tempted to pick up more Urshifus just because I feel like this is one of the most underrated alt arts. All of the Urshifus are underrated. Okay, next up, we have a tag team that came in. This came in all the way from the UK. I was able to get a slightly better deal on this, buying it from the UK. And it is a 10. This came from the Premium Tag Team Premium Collection. A lot of these really high value, high dollar promos, they're just tough to grade, and a lot of them were dinged because they were from collection boxes. So this one's a little different. There's a lot more of these out there in 10s, but I have my work cut out for me for some of these last tag team cards because they are really expensive. The Darkrai Umbreon and the Deoxys Espeon, those are pricey. I picked this one up for about 160 bucks. The market in the US was really crazy at the time. Like, the market was like basically over 200 on these. I think those sales are starting to come back down to earth. I think this card is really now coming back down to 150, 160, as it should. But I wanted to be cautious, and at that time they were more expensive here in the US. So I don't know if that price has already gone back up, but I got that for 165. It did take like 2 weeks to get here, so that took forever. I would not recommend buying from across the world. I really wouldn't. It's honestly a waste of time. You might save a little bit, but you could just wait another couple weeks, and the card that you're looking for is most likely going to pop back up in the States. No offense to everybody that sells internationally, but yeah, that was not ideal. Then we got the Mew. Finally, we got this Mew. One of my favorite cards, if not probably like my favorite card from Fusion Strike. The Mew V is absolutely phenomenal. I love this card so much. I think this card is better than the VMAX, arguably. And honestly, I think the market feels that way too, because this card is approaching those VMAX prices. This card is like 250, 200 to 250. The VMAX is 350. That's a very small gap between this and the VMAX. One might even say the VMAX is probably undervalued, especially in this market. But anyways, yeah, we got our Mew V. The centering could be a little bit better, which is funny because my 9 basically has the same centering. I do think this one kind of slipped through the cracks because of the centering. The centering is off on this card, but like, look at the back. But a 10 is a 10. I'm just frustrated that I'm buying a card that I literally just graded one that looked just as clean, if not cleaner. Okay, next up, one of my all-time favorite cards from Sun and Moon. This is from Unified Minds. I don't know what it is about this card. It's the colors, it's the texture, it's Sableye, it's Tyranitar. It's magnificent. So you've got the Sableye Tyranitar right here. I actually bought 2 of these because I love this card so much, and I didn't want to chance getting a weak 10. And guys, wouldn't you know it, this 10 did have a flaw. Most people probably would not care, but I am not most people. I am not, I am kind of the average collector, maybe slightly above average, but I'm extremely OCD, and I kind of notice every little imperfection. And for me, if I have it in my PC, I don't want to have any imperfections. I want it to be the best of the best, as clean as I can get it in a 10. In my opinion, I don't think this card deserved a 10. I honestly don't think it deserved a 10. I think PSA was wrong for grading this. I do have a theory that this one, and I do have another on the way, so that one I plan on keeping, this one I plan on selling. This card is only going up in value. I'm sure I will find a buyer for it very easily. You guys probably aren't going to see it. That's how not noticeable it is. But in the middle of the card, at the top middle border, you can kind of see a tiny little indent. And it looks like it's probably part of the card. You guys probably are not going to see it. It's a tiny little indent. Absolutely beautiful card, nonetheless. With this ruby right here, matching up with his eyes. I don't know, the colors, the purple, the blue on Tyranitar, the green. Everything in this card is a work of art. It really is. I don't know why it took me so long to go after these cards. It's not like I only want them when they're hot, right? That's not the case. I've been going after very high dollar vintage cards, and that's taken all my energy, time, and money, right? I didn't have any leftover funds to go after cards like this. These cards were on the back burner. I always wanted them. I always wanted the alt arts. I always wanted the Sun and Moon alts. Really, the first alt arts ever. I always wanted them, but I couldn't justify going after ultra modern when vintage was starting to be unattainable. And now all the gold stars that I have in my collection and the crystals and my Shining Zard, I'm sure that one's going to shoot up in value. First edition base set, all of it is going up in price. All of it would have been much harder for me to attain now. So I would much rather pay a little bit more on these cards, or in some cases double from what they were just a couple months ago, than have missed out on the opportunity to complete some of my other big goals. Because here we are now. Look, we're doing it. We're collecting modern. We're talking about it. We're definitely overpaying, but that is what it is. Also, if you look at the back of this, the centering on this one was off too. You guys might not fully agree. It might look like 60-40, but it's definitely not. Even at that time, well, no, maybe it was 60-40, and that was maybe before they updated it. Either way, yeah, it has this tiny, tiny little ding that I don't think anybody even noticed in the video. But that one is up for sale. I really wish that one was a keeper, but we did. All these other ones are keepers. I am becoming more of a stickler on centering, so I don't even know if that Mew V will stay. I may end up finding a better centered one and sell that one out at some point. But this one did come in, and it did exceed all expectations. We got our Blastoise Piplup, and this card is quite a conversation right now. Me and a buddy of mine just picked these up for about $500 a piece. PSA estimates that this card is still could be worth $350, which is hilarious, because and it says low confidence. So I'm not sure if that's even remotely accurate, but I do think it's interesting that PSA has these estimates that are so much lower than what we see on the secondary market. But anyways, this one has no indents or dings, no whitening at all. It is a 7 cert, so kind of before they got really tough on centering. But it's absolutely gorgeous. I'm becoming a big fan of Piplup. I sold the secret rare Piplup recently. I think that was Cosmic Eclipse, but I sold that recently, and it kind of hurt to let go. It kind of hurt to let go of that card. So I'm glad we see Piplup again in this Blasty card. This card is phenomenal. It is one of the greatest Blastoise cards out there, in my opinion. It looks awesome. It's playful. It's colorful. And it's a different style. It's just a different art style than we've gotten for, like, very few alt arts have had this kind of playful, fun style. I would say that the Mew kind of looks similar in its style too. One of the artists was Sato Komaya. Yeah, so this card's sick. Super happy to have it in my collection. There's an auction for one, probably even higher now. It was $830. So yeah, this card has somehow doubled. This just doesn't make any sense. Now, why this card took so much longer than everything else to jump in price in Sun and Moon, I'm not sure. But the fact that it's jumping from like $450, $500 to $800 or $1,000, I don't know, kind of seems like a red flag. I would not want to be buying this card above 500. Just putting that out there. If you're looking for one, I would not want to buy that card over 500. Anyways, we went over the cards. We talked about some topics. I haven't done a video in a while, so I'm glad I was able to crank one out today. I hope you guys have a fantastic day. Let me know how you like this video. Let me know in the comments what other videos you'd like to see or topics you'd like to hear on. We still have to talk about tag grading. I keep forgetting. I'm sorry. Anyways, I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace!